Henry Ford was an American industrialist and business magnate. He was the founder of Ford Motor Company and chief developer of the assembly line technique of mass production. Ford created the first automobile that middle-class Americans could afford, and his conversion of the automobile from an expensive luxury into an accessible conveyance profoundly impacted 20th-century American society. Ford was born on a farm in Michigan's Spring Wells Township, leaving home at age 16 to work in Detroit. His father gave him a pocket watch when he was 12. At 15, Ford dismantled and reassembled the timepieces of friends and neighbors dozens of times, gaining the reputation of a watch repairman. His father expected him to take over the family farm eventually, but he despised farm work. He later wrote, "I never had any particular love for the farm. It was the mother on the farm I loved." Ford said two significant events occurred in 1875 when he was 12. He received the watch, and he witnessed the operation of a Nichols and Shepard road engine, the first vehicle other than horse-drawn that I had ever seen. In his farm workshop, Ford built a steam wagon or tractor and a steam car, but thought steam was not suitable for light vehicles, as the boiler was dangerous. In 1879, Ford left home to work as an apprentice machinist in Detroit, first with James F. Flower and Brothers, and later with the Detroit Dry Dock Co. In 1882, he returned to Dearborn to work on the family farm, where he became adept at operating the Westinghouse portable steam engine. He was later hired by Westinghouse to service their steam engines. Ford said, "In 1892, I completed my first motor car, powered by a 2-cylinder 4-horsepower motor, with a 2.5-inch bore and a 6-inch stroke, which was connected to a countershaft by a belt and then to the rear wheel by a chain. The belt was shifted by a clutch lever to control speeds at 10 or 20 miles per hour, augmented by a throttle." Other features included 28 inches wire bicycle wheels with rubber tires, a foot brake, a 3-gallon gasoline tank, and later, a water jacket around the cylinders for cooling. Ford added that in the spring of 1893 the machine was running to my partial satisfaction and giving an opportunity further to test out the design and material on the road. Between 1895 and 1896, Ford drove the car about 1,000 miles. He then started a second car in 1896, eventually building 3 of them in his home workshop. With the help of C. Harold Wills, Ford designed, built, and successfully raced a 26-horsepower automobile in October 1901. With this success, Murphy and other stockholders in the Detroit Automobile Company formed the Henry Ford Company on November 30, 1901, with Ford as chief engineer. In 1902, Murphy brought in Henry M. Leland as a consultant. Ford, in response, left the company bearing his name. With Ford gone, Leland renamed the company the Cadillac Automobile Company. He officially founded Ford Motor Company in 1903 after prior failures in business but success in constructing automobiles. On January 12, 1904 in New Baltimore, Michigan, Henry Ford personally drove the rechristened 999 with his mechanic Ed Spider Huff at the throttle. A new land speed record was achieved of 91.37 miles per hour on an ice track carved into Lake St. Clair's Anchor Bay. It stood for only a few weeks, but this was ample time to bring more good publicity for Ford's new company. Ford's 1908 introduction of the Model T automobile revolutionized both transportation and American industry. The car was very simple to drive and easy to repair. It was so cheap at $825 in 1908, around $26,000 today, with the price falling every year, that by the 1920s a majority of American drivers had learned to drive on the Model T. In 1913, Ford introduced moving assembly belts into his plants, which enabled an enormous increase in production. Ford was a pioneer of welfare capitalism, designed to improve the lot of his workers and especially to reduce the heavy turnover that had many departments hiring 300 men per year to fill 100 slots. Efficiency meant hiring and keeping the best workers. Ford astonished the world in 1914 by offering a $5 per day wage, roughly equal to $150 today, which more than doubled the rate of most of his workers. As the Ford Motor Company's sole owner, he became one of the richest and best-known people in the world. He is credited with Fordism, the mass production of inexpensive goods coupled with high wages for workers. Ford was also among the pioneers of the 5-day workweek. Ford believed that consumerism was a key to global peace. His commitment to systematically lowering costs resulted in many technical and business innovations, including a franchise system that put dealerships throughout North America and major cities on 6 continents. Ford was known for his pacifism during the first years of World War I, although during the war his company became a major supplier of weapons. He promoted the League of Nations. In the 1920s, Ford promoted anti-Semitism through his newspaper The Dearborn Independent and the book The International Jew. He opposed United States entry into World War II and served for a time on the America First Committee board. After his son Edsel died in 1943, Ford resumed control of the company but was too frail to make decisions and quickly came under the control of subordinates. He turned over the company to his grandson Henry Ford II in 1945. He died in 1947 after leaving most of his wealth to the Ford Foundation and control of the company to his family. Henry Ford was one of America's greatest industrialists. His legacy has helped shape the modern world, and his spirit and drive have come to embody the American way of life.